Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is still the AM Club live on MX24, and it's now time for Lifestyle Daily. And today we are talking about the art of public speaking. Now, whether you're talking in a team meeting or presenting in front of an audience, we all have to speak in public from time to time. Public speaking is one of the most feared things for many people. In fact, some public surveys show fear of public speaking as higher than fear of death. Public speakers are communication specialists who write and deliver speeches to a live audience. They are hired by government organizations or businesses to speak at a public and industry event. Their job is to impart key information to the public in an engaging way. Over the years, public speaking in communication has played a major role in education, government, and businesses. Words have the power to inform, persuade, educate, and even entertain. And the spoken words can be even more powerful than the written word in the hands of the right speaker. To be a good public speaker, you have to have a natural charisma, excellent verbal communication skills, and the ability to adapt content during delivery. If you want to learn more about being a good public speaker, you are at the right place. My guest this morning, our guest this morning is a man known in this area, and he is also known for fan orator, and he's also an entertainer. But before we get into the conversation, remember you are a major part of the show, so we would love to hear about your experiences when it comes to public speaking. How did it go? Please send your experiences via our WhatsApp number on 0550 331 511 or tweet us at MX24GH with the hashtag the AM Club. And Godwin is on standby to continue with the conversation. Let's go.
Bashoya Pong, Edma has done the, she's done the public speaking lecture finish. We are done, we are going home. Anyways, thank you very much for that, Edma. So there you have it, all the details over there. Do well to join us on social media at MX24GH with the hashtag the AM Club. And also on our WhatsApp line 055 0331511, 055 0331511. Like Edma said, my guest this morning is a fine orator, very handsome young man, I must say. Mr. Day, he's an MC and a content creator, and also host of Friday Panday on Instagram. Welcome, boss.
Thank you, Chief.
I said if I knew you were coming, you were...
But you are also wearing a suit.
No. This is not a suit. This is not a suit.
So yesterday I picked what I wanted to wear and then saw some of your interviews from yesterday and said, no, I have to come prepared.
Oh, Charlie. Anyways, bro, how's it going? How's the family?
Well. Family is fine. Family is
awesome.
Yes.
Also, we want to talk about the art of public speaking. And like Edma said in her introduction, the fear of death is lower than the fear to stand in public to speak. And that is crazy. Those statistics are crazy. But first of all, I want to ask, you've been doing this for a while, so what really is public speaking?
I think Edna summed it all up when she spoke about it. It's basically speaking face-to-face with a live audience. The key word here is live. Live audience. Because unlike maybe TV or broadcasting, you don't see anybody. But for public speaking, everything is on the spot. Everything is live. The reactions from the audience is live. Everything is in real time, and so that's there is the element. And in recent times, because of digital innovations, you can even put something like Instagram Live. You can make a public speaking because it's still you speaking to in real time to a live audience. So anything that has to do with speaking to a live audience, be it church, be it a political rally, be it MC in a wedding, whatever it is, all of these things can be classified as public speaking.
I mean, you do a lot of this, this in your emceeing at weddings and creating your content, like you said, engaging with your followers on Instagram and all that. Would you say public speaking is changing? The art of it is changing. Looking at the advent of social media and how people can now reach out to a large number of people, even if they don't see them physically. Would you say it's changing?
I think it is. For anybody who say this is changing per what is happening in the world, the person will be very right, because public speaking, I mean, if you look in history, it goes with the times. Okay, if you pick the Bible for instance, Jesus will stand in front of 5,000, and then back then there was no COVID. But over time, especially over the past 2 years, there's been a rise of digital channels, right? Zoom and whatnot, for people to speak to audiences. So it doesn't necessarily need to be physical, right? But it's still public speaking, even though maybe it's digital and there are some electronic media in there as well. So regardless of where we are at, I believe public speaking mirrors the times and what is pertaining.
How important is it to be able to speak in public?
I'll say it's extremely important because you know, it brings with it a lot of benefits, really. You by speaking in public, I'm talking from my own experience, really. By speaking in public, you get a lot more people to get to know you. You are able to widen your network and things of that nature. And with public speaking as well, it makes you learn a lot of things. Because imagine, I don't know anything about what doctors or a soldier or a military person, but I may have to go host an event for military people. And in order to get in touch or be in tune with what military people think and what they want to hear, I may have to read on it. I may have to prepare myself for whatever engagement I'm going to do. So in a sense, it broadens your horizons.
Right.
It presents a lot of possibilities for you as an individual. And I mean, it boosts your confidence as well.
So what would you say public speaking entails, aside being able to stand in front of the people and talk, which is crazy anyways. But what would you say it entails apart from speaking? Does my appearance count? Does, you know, what does it entail?
So whenever this question comes up, one of the first things I throw back at the questioner is, you know, what is stopping you from doing public speaking? And most of the time the answer that comes up is fear. Okay, so it's mostly something that has to do with the mind. Nobody is born a public speaker. In fact, nobody is born a speaker. When we are born, we can't speak. You know, my son is my second born is 6 months old, and he can't speak. He will now be learning how to speak, and whatnot. So it's a skill. You learn it from time to time. So in that sense, public speaking is a skill. Nobody has the natural ability to do public speaking. What people have the natural ability to do is they have a natural ability in terms of confidence. They have a natural ability in terms of you know, commanding a certain audience. But public speaking is a combination of all that.
Right.
And so in order to, you know, be a very effective public speaker, you need to have built on that skill. It's like football. You see someone who he's a prodigy, but he hasn't been put through a certain rigorous system of training. Okay, he hasn't been put through a certain training for him to be the star that he is, or for them to unleash that potential. So until you work on that skill, and part of the skills I'm talking about is overcoming fear, first of all.
Right.
Okay, so that's what it entails, number one, and then preparation. Because most of the fear comes from the fact that you feel you are not prepared. Okay, if you ask people, why are you afraid? I'm afraid because I won't say the right thing, or I'll bow.
It's a fear of mistake, actually.
It's fear of mistake, exactly. So I'm going to say a word wrongly, or someone is going to ask me a question that I won't be prepared for. You see, so people. That's why I agree with the statistic that people fear that more than death, because actually, you will stand in front of a crowd and something will just topple you, and you wish the ground will open so you fall inside. And that is basically what people are afraid of. So once you're able to conquer that fear, overcome that fear, and have that command, and be consistent about the public speaking, then you're on your way to becoming a very effective public speaker.
I think it was Les Brown who said that he remembers the first time he stood up to talk in public, his mind sat down, even though he was sitting down, his mind just sat down and was, you know. So now let's talk about, let's say for instance, I've been invited to my old school association to give perhaps a little talk, maybe a 5 minutes talk to the students in the school. I went to Wesley Grammar, so they said, Godwin, come back, we are having this thing and we want you to give a 5 minute speech or address to the students, you know, to motivate them and all that. 5 minutes. As a Joe, as a regular Joe, as someone who is not a fine public speaker, I'm just starting out, what do I need to know?
Okay, so this is the same question that would fly if you were to ask somebody who is selling a product, because public speaking is marketing. Okay, so what you need to know first of all is who you are speaking to. You know, so that knowing your audience is very, very important, because knowing your audience would put a certain context into how you prepare for that audience. If you are speaking to your old school people, right, What are they made of? Wesley Grammar is a mixed school.
Yes.
A male and female.
Yes.
What are the age ranges of those people? What year group is it? You see, what was in vogue at the time they were in school? You understand? What is in vogue now? What are they doing at this particular point in time? All of these things would guide you in your research to know who you are speaking to. Because if you don't know who you are speaking to, you can't put what you are saying in any context.
So the first step is research, actually.
It's research. It's a lot of preparation. It's a lot of preparation. And for me, I'm an events MC as well. When it comes to things like weddings or other social events or corporate events, it's very important to have a one-on-one with whoever is organizing. If it's a wedding, have a one-on-one with the couple, to get a sense of them first of all, and also get a sense of the people they will be inviting, because these are the people you are going to be speaking to. And I meant to mention in the beginning when you asked me, it's not effective public speaking if you are just giving out information. So information can be given out. You can go and put whatever you're seeing on a billboard, or you can put on an information van to run through the neighborhood to mention it. That's communication. But once it doesn't land with, it's like an echo, right? It should land with your listeners, and you should get some feedback. Feedback should be, it could be non-verbal feedback. It could be in any form of interaction. Once you give out the message and people respond, or you get a sense that people are actually listening to you, that's effective public speaking right there. So for your Wesley Grammar gig, for example, you need to know the audience, know who you are speaking to, know what makes them tick. You understand? And there's a certain misconception that whenever you go and host something, you need to tell a joke.
That's one. That's one. And Mr. Day, I'm terrible at jokes. I say I don't have a funny bone at all. So that is not necessarily needed.
It's not needed. The things people look out for, you should have at the back of your mind that whenever you leave an event or whenever you leave a gig, you should leave an impression, right? An impression could be anything. It could be how you dressed. It could be how you smoothly, went around with the words.
Right.
It could be something. I mean, when I say impressions, it should be a positive impression, of course. Yes.
Of course.
So you should be remembered, right? And there are 101 ways to be remembered besides telling jokes. So what I actually tell people is that, what are you good at? Tap into that and use that to your advantage, because nobody can do it the way you do. So if you are not a funny person, right, maybe you are charming. And so while you are speaking, you can go engage with one of your listeners, and it's something that will be an imprint for them for the rest of their lives, and you may get a recommendation from that. So tap into what you are good at. I'm good at thinking on my feet and doing things, out of the blue, basically to entertain guest interactions. I'm funny, but I won't say I don't go out rightly to go tell jokes. I just interact with you, and if via that interaction some joke comes out, then we'll go with it. But I don't go to go and tell a joke. So it's very important to know the kind of people you are speaking to. And I mean, a last one on this joke issue, for instance. Whenever I go for events, the higher the what do you call it, the nature of the listeners, right? The less interaction I go with. Because, for example, if I'm to host a state event, I wouldn't do it like I'm doing a wedding
MC,
because the class of guests there are higher. They just came they didn't really come to enjoy. They came to attend whatever it is, and then have a classy event and then move on. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know how much I can say this, but it's very, very important to know the audience.
Know the audience.
It gives you a context to know what you are going in with. Because if you go in with nothing, you will struggle.
Right.
And the fear will come up.
Absolutely. We are in class. It's a lecture hall with Mr. Day, who is an MC and a content creator. We are discussing the art of public speaking. Send in your questions. We'll be very happy to read them out. It's 055-033-1511, 055-033-1511. It's still the AM Club. Also on social media, it's at MX24GH with the hashtag DAM Club. Mr. Day, when it comes to public speaking, we've always, I feel some people think that it is cut out for a certain group of people. Oh, me, I'm not meant to talk in public. Maybe I am more reserved. I am, and they seem to think that some people are gifted with the art of public speaking. So let's share our experiences. Let's share your first experience when you spoke in public. Where was this? Do you remember? When was it?
Okay, so...
And how was it?
So, I mean, before I go in there, I just need to put this out there that public speaking is not for everybody.
Okay.
It's facts.
Right.
Public speaking is not for everybody. There are people who would learn how to do public speaking very well and be good public speakers. There are people who have the natural ability to be good public speakers. There are people who would never be good at public speaking. Maybe their strength is in preparing the public speaker to speak.
Right.
There are people like that. Just like how, in a company structure, there's always the face of the company and there are those in the technical departments who are doing. But without them, the face cannot, thrive.
But how do you know, okay, before you go on with the answer, how do you know if you're meant to be a public speaker, if you can speak in public? Or how do I tell?
I think it's all about the passion and the interest in it. You gravitate towards the things you are passionate about. And so if you are seen to be doing a lot more things that have to put you in front of people to talk,
then it means
then you most probably, and you excel at it, you most probably have the passion for it.
To do it.
Yes. So back
your experience, yeah.
My experience, yes. So, I mean, public speaking for me, unofficially, started a very long time ago. I remember I went to Presec. Okay, I went to Presec, the greatest school.
I saw this coming. I knew you were going to do this. So I know you were going to contest it, of course.
I went to Presec, and I used to be very, very timid growing up. But I think when I went to Presec, I was a dorm monitor, and later on became house prefect. All of these roles required me to stand in front of people to speak from time to time, give announcements, punish people, and all of that. It was in the making, So when I left Presec, I went to Ashesi University. In my second year, my first big break came from we had a talent show called Floetry Night, right?
Okay.
And Floetry Night was run by two students, Emmanuel Nkansa and Edem Doche. They were my classmates. And they did one edition. So I went for the second edition. And they came up to me and said that they think I can host Floetry Night. So they want me to host it. So knowing your audience, I realized that it's a talent show. There are rappers, there are singers and everything. So I went to write a rap. And I came to rap on the first day just to get people comfortable with my flow.
What you're doing. And how did you know this? How did you know you had to do that? Because
I had attended the first one, and realized the kind of environment and the kind of environment there. So I did that, and then
were you confident? Were you a confident person at the time?
I was a confident person at the time because back at Ashesi, right? Even in my, when we have assignments, group assignments and everything, I always wanted to be the person to present, do the whole presentation and everything. So it was in me.
Right.
Okay, so it was fun. It was something I was looking forward to. So I did the Floetry Night, and from there I became the default host for Floetry Night. It was happening every 2 weeks at the time. And so from Floetry Nights, I became like the default MC for most of the Ashesi events. Whatever school event was going on, I'll be the one hosting it and everything. So I built some of my skill from there, knowing the audience, preparing, trying to interact with the audience and all of that. I built that from there. But that was with people who were close to me, my mates. So it was different. I graduated in 2013 and didn't do any MC gig until I said, okay, I want to go professional with this MC thing. That was in July 2017.
Right.
Now, how do I go about this? So my first event was actually close friends of mine who were getting married. That was my first event. They say I did well, but Charlie, that day I was really stammering. I'm not a stammerer, but that day, my God. So it was tough because for me, everybody is looking at me.
Of course.
If I make a mistake in front of everybody, even though the people who were celebrating I was familiar with them, the rest of the guests, so I started off being very, I mean, if you look at my first event, it's not like now.
Of course,
because I was very prim.
Right.
Because I didn't want to let myself out a little. It took about 2 to 3 events for me to actually come into my own and realize that, look, I can do these things my own way. And so I think that for anybody who is also learning how to, who wants to do public speaking, it's important to first do the events or the gigs or the small family gigs that are close
familiar.
to you.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I can relate to your story. It's first of all, it's interesting to know that you said you were very timid as a young person. For most people that I have met, people who are good with public speaking, they always seem to have had a timid childhood. I had a timid childhood too. I couldn't stand in front of people. I was shy. I always wanted to hide myself. And so it's interesting that you say that. And that also means, from what you've said, that to become a very good public speaker, it has to start very early.
Exactly.
You have to have done a number of things that exposes you to people that I started out with church. Like you said, announcements in church, come and stand there, give announcements in church, went to Legon, and in church, you host, even if it's a concert, come and stand there and host,
Yeah.
And then after that, wedding MCs started, and then conferences, and and that's where it comes from. But do you get stage fright? Do you still get stage fright?
I think I get a little bit of stage fright before every event. I watched an interview with about Beyonce some time back that even Beyonce gets stage fright. So it's not. I think it's not bad. Sometimes you go into the event and then you are confident, and then you see the size of the crowd, or you see some key personality in there, and then you start to wonder. But for me, whenever my opening monologue kills everything.
The stage fright for you,
yes.
True, very true.
Because I to some extent, I mean, for me, I don't know about other public speakers, but how I do the opening monologue, just sets the pace for the rest of the event, and how the audience reacts
to
there.
it.
So I try to get a little bit of interaction at the beginning,
right?
Because that is, for me, what boosts my confidence is me realizing that somebody is listening, or someone is engaged with what I'm saying. It may be different for other public speakers. So that's another thing you need to tap into. It's like maybe when I'm a basketball fan, right? So LeBron James, for instance, before he gets on the court, he will go to the announcer's table and put powder in his hand, and that is his ritual,
right?
Basically to boost his confidence or something. You need to get something that boosts your confidence. Mine is, saying something for the crowd to respond,
right?
And when they respond, I know that yes, we are good to go.
We're ready to fly.
So for me, once that happens, we can go on, and my stage fright just disappears.
So to break stage fright, get a good opener at least, according to Mr. Day. Let's check out what people have been saying on social media. This one says, "Hi Godwin, this is Kamal from Tamale. Please ask him if you are passing by your alma mater and then you are invited to give a word of advice or inspiration to your juniors, which you are not prepared for, but you have to do it anyways. What would you do? What should you do?" So on the spot.
So I think that on the spot, and that's the thing. One of my skills is thinking on my feet.
Right.
It may not be the same for some other person. If I were some other person, I'll say I won't do it. But for me, I think also because of the fact that I have been doing this, I've done close to 300 events since 2017. I've been doing this for such a long time.
You've done 300 events?
Close to. Yes.
Wow.
So because I've been doing this for a long time, there are ways. I mean, I've been to Presec before. I mean, I was there for 3 years. So even if I don't do any research, my 3 years stay there gives me some information as to how it runs and what the students may be thinking.
Of course.
There may be news on Presec or something around that time, stuff I've heard and everything that I can tap into. So I think you just need to be avail yourself to tap into all sources of information or research. Research doesn't necessarily mean going to sit down for 3 hours and looking into a book and going to an encyclopedia, whatnot. You can just pick Twitter
and that's it,
and look at the trending stories, and that is research. Yes. You just need to have something that when you mention, people can relate to. So, for example, that I went to a wedding, and this particular wedding was a friend of mine. But around that time, they were doing the National Science and Maths quiz.
Right.
And this was, it's very tough to predict to some extent. Sometimes it's very easy to deal with an older audience, but sometimes it's very tough.
Yeah.
Because older audiences, sometimes it's so easy to please them. Other times, nothing pleases them, that kind of thing. So I had to, this is older audiences, a bit high class. So I had to tap into what was happening at the time, which was the National Science and Maths quiz.
And they are very interested in that.
They are very, very interested. And it was a whole, it was fun. It was very interactive because everybody loves their school. So everybody was tapping in and trying to, rivalries and everything came up. And it was a fun experience. And I was glad I chose that. But I didn't go into the event saying that I'm going to do National Science and Maths quiz. And that's the thing. Sometimes you may prepare. That there's a saying that you can plan the picnic, but you can't predict the weather, right?
True.
You may prepare, but you go there and everything changes. So I always tell people when I'm talking or teaching about public speaking, I always tell people that you prepare your mind 80% and leave 20% free.
Chance, whatever will happen.
Exactly.
Will happen. I'll tell you something about a wedding I hosted. Let me read some few comments. This one says, good morning, my name is Nuhu Sani. Good show. Thank you very much, Nuhu. This one says, watching you live at Dunkwao Fing. You guys are awesome. I love you. We love you too. Few more public speaking. Public speaking, one of the worst side I ever been. I couldn't even make a presentation in front of my class. Class presentation is very important to start your public speaking career. Can't just do it, but hoping to master it. How do you master it if you can't just do it? Okay. I enjoy doing public speaking so much because it boosts my self-confidence, exposes me to a lot of people, and makes me feel proud of myself. It's a good feeling, bro.
It's a good feeling.
But sorry, let me read this last one. It says, I really like you guys. We like you too. Thank you very much. Thank you. You know, I went for a wedding. In wrapping our conversation, I went for a wedding, and it's a friend's wedding. I don't know the people who were coming. He was expecting, it was COVID time, so he was expecting 300 people. Guess how many people came? 700. 300, 700. Yeah.
What venue was that?
This one, the one on the Chado Road. What's the name of that place? That new place.
Oh, I know where you're talking about.
Yeah, where after the Mama
After the
place.
yes.
That venue.
Yeah.
Goodness me, and they were supposed to arrive at what time to do the exclusive? They were supposed to arrive at 1. They came at almost 4.
Yes.
And as the MC, for 3 hours,
You have to interact.
keep them go. People are tired, bro. Anyways, I feel like we need about an hour or two to talk about this particular conversation. But leave us with some few words, some few tips you think we should know when it comes to public speaking as we wrap up.
Okay, so I think that for public speaking, like I've already mentioned, the most important thing is to be prepared. And when preparation means, learning about the audience and knowing what you are going to do, and then also be prepared for the unexpected because things can happen, right? And then you need to, confidence is the key. If you are set in your mind that you are prepared and you can do this, nobody can take that away from you. I went for a presentation last time and my header slide was, nobody can do you foco. Because if you go and you speak and you make a mistake, it's a learning point. So public speaking is not really an end in itself. It's like a journey. And try to be as consistent as possible. Try to take on as much public speaking engagement, because the more you speak in public, the better you become at it. And basically for anybody who needs to be a good public speaker, I have a master class that is coming up, so information will come much later. But I as much as possible, from the experience I've gotten over time, I want to be able to share it to other people. Even if you're not going to be an MC, just to be a better public speaker, I have the keys.
Can I subscribe? I want to subscribe. Can I book my seats now?
You can book your seats now.
But if you want to contact you, of course, let me add one more tip to what you just said. And sometimes I realize that the lack of confidence or the fear sometimes stems from lack of preparation.
Exactly.
Because when we are adequately prepared, usually you're not afraid. You know that I'm going to do this and I'm going to kill it. But to reach you, Mr. Day, you're on social media at...
So my main account that has everything, my MC Friday Pandy and everything, is at underscore Mr. Day underscore on Instagram.
At underscore Mr. Day underscore.
Yes. And then my public speaking masterclass, that is Mr. Day underscore masterclass.
Okay, that's a different page.
Yes, that's a different page. But on Twitter has everything in one. So on my Twitter is Mr. underscore Day.
Are you going to host a space soon?
I think I should do.
You should host a space.
That's a good one.
Now,
right?
Let's jump into it and see what we can do.
I'll do that.
Anyway, Mr. Day, thank you very much for coming through. It's a pleasure having you all the time.
Thank you.
All the time. And that is Mr. Day, MC, content creator, host of Friday Panday on Instagram, and he's coming up with his masterclass. So go check it out at Mr. Day, at underscore Mr. Day underscore on Instagram and, in fact, on social media, actually. You're still watching the AM Club. It's exciting. I can't read any more of your messages coming in on WhatsApp. We'll try and do that in the next segment. Coming up, we have hashtag Travel Tuesday,